Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm not sure where we are in terms of the number of folk that are in the room, but I do know where we are in terms of the agenda. So I'm going to just briefly stop sharing my screen just so that I can go into gallery view and I can see all of you beautiful peoples. Hi, CIIS.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Oh, look at all of these beautiful people. Oh, somebody do screenshots. Somebody do screenshots so that we can save this.
Right.
This is a magical moment. I'm doing screenshots. This just for me. We're not going to share them with anybody, but I'm just doing this. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, let me go back to the first page and get one more. All right. Well, we are so happy to have each and every one of you here with us. We got a really exciting program that we're going to launch today and tell you all about. And so I'm going to go back to my screen share here and go back to play. And let's see, I'm going to hit this button and we're going to have Rachel offer our libation.
Thank you. So good to see all of you here today. It is my honor to offer this sacred water, water that gives us life, water that nourishes us, water that cleanses us on behalf of our ancestors. And I ask that they please give us the wisdom to knowingly and lovingly shape our world. And I pour this water. Ashe, ashe.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rachel. All right, I got to get all of my little controls here going. I rarely use PowerPoint, so I might be a little clumsy, so y'all pray for me. All right, so we're gonna just do some quick introductions so you can know who everybody is, who the people of BPP at CIIS are. So I'm Adeeba Deterville. I'm a doctoral candidate in the Transformative Studies program, and I have my oral defense scheduled for October the 8th. So y'all, when you see that announcement, log on, yay! And I also am blessed to have 2 adjunct positions in the School of Undergraduate Studies. I teach in both the Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and in the Bachelor's in Interdisciplinary Studies. I'm also a member of the National Association of Black Psychologists, and I serve on their board. I'm the co-chair of the certification in African Black Psychology that we offer through the National Association of ABPSI. And I'm also a proud local member of the Bay Area chapter of ABPSI. LaTronda.
Yes, greetings everyone. Again, my name is LaTronda, and I am a second-year doctoral student in the Integral and Transpersonal Psychology program here at CIIS. I am so excited about the Black Psychology program and looking forward to learning with you, sharing knowledge with you, and working in community with you. I am also a Bay Area member of the ABPSI, and I have over 25 years experience in child welfare and juvenile justice and juvenile corrections, community mental health, and nonprofit management. And I'm happy to be here with you today.
Oh, Rachel.
Greetings, everyone. I am Rachel Bryant. I am the Director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion at CIIS. I am a self-identified educa-healer, which means that I see teaching, learning, and healing as one integrated practice. I'm also a graduate of the Community Mental Health Program, a Master's in Counseling Psychology program here at CIS. Thank you.
Freilani.
Awesome, wonderful. Thank you so much again for being with us today. My name is Freilani, and I am the Associate Dean of Students in the Student Affairs Office, also co-managing Here also, I oversee PASU, which is the student union organization led by students of CIS who are self-identified within the African diaspora, and they pretty much provide diverse programs to promote and foster social and educational, political, and theoretical support. Therapeutical support for personal and professional development. I have to slow down a bit, but good to be here.
And then our other community partner is the Bay Area chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists. And so they're the local chapter of the National Association, and you'll learn more about the Bay Area chapter as we go through the program. They were founded right alongside of the founding of Adisa, and a number of the members of the local chapter are also founders of the Association of Black Psychologists. So let me find my arrows again. Here we go. So I want to give you just a brief history of Black psychology at CIIS. So way back, I had to get out my calendar and all kind of stuff to work this date out. Way back in 2016, Rachel was the director of the MHSA program. And so that's the Mental Health Services Act. So we had a grant from the county, state, whoever does MHSA, she could tell you better than I can. And together, and at that time, I was also the program coordinator for the Masters in Counseling Psychology department. And so we knew that there was a great need within MHSA and within the MCP, the Masters in Counseling Psychology programs, for more inclusion of African-centered and Black pedagogy. And so she and I collaborated to create the first cohort called the MHSA Adisa cohort. And we identified several students from each of the different specializations. So we had students from EXA, from ICP, from CMH, from somatics and drama therapy, all participate in that initial pilot cohort. And they went through a similar process, a year-long educational process, and were able to attend the national convention of the Association of Black Psychologists. We paid for them to be able to attend, and it was a really dynamic and beautiful group of students that went. And so that's a photograph of them. We were in Las Vegas at the convention. Our second iteration of the program happened that following year, and I don't have a picture of them, and when I update these slides, I'll make sure that I include it. We did a second round. And we had two students. They were actually incoming students into the Masters in Counseling Psychology program. And we were able to, again, provide them with some of the BPP resources and also facilitate their ability to attend the convention. And that year, the convention was in Washington, D.C. And both of them have spoken about how without the program being there to support them, they probably would not have, one, entered into CIS and the Masters in Counseling Psychology program, nor been able to complete it and graduate. And that now both of them are very successful as alumni in their careers. And then the third iteration of this was with a much bigger and broader. We were like, oh, we got this, we're gonna expand. So we applied for a grant from the Office of Statewide Health and Development, OSHPD, and we were able to, with the help of Sarah, able to successfully acquire that grant, and we offered the Black Psychology as a Professional Gateway Project. That project was open to all of everybody. So it was unique in that it included both CIS students, it included students from other universities and community colleges, it included transition age youth, it also included community healers, it had a wide breadth of people. We touched over 100 people over the course of that year with the series of workshops that we did. And this was the leadership cohort from the Black Psychology as a Professional Gateway Project. They were unique in that they as well were able to attend the Bay Area, they were also able to attend the national convention, because that year the ABSI convention was in Oakland. And we had the resources of OSHPD. We did a wonderful fundraiser, and we had some other resources available to us, so we were able to cover all of their registration fees. This photo was taken in in Namaste. See, this is how long since I've been on campus. In Namaste, And they did a full day symposium where they took what they had brought to the program, combined that with what they learned and experienced over the course of the year-long program, and did a community offering back. It was a fabulous, fabulous event. And so this was the culmination, the end of the day. So we are not new at what we're doing. So the need for the BPP at CIIS. So CIIS has positioned itself as an inclusive learning community, yet many students, faculty and staff of African ancestry have experienced marginalization in the pedagogy. And even though many efforts, and I gave you just a couple of examples, have been taken over the years to address the systemic challenges, none of them have been able to be sustainable until now, we hope. And so if CIS wants to truly be an anti-racism institution, then we feel that the time is right now to move beyond this program speaker sort of approach that we've been taking over the years, and to actually create an actual program which is a part of and built into CIIS. And so that's the primary reason for sort of speaking things into existence, if you will, by naming this the Black Psychology Program at CIIS. Tronda.
Yes, so just to give an overview of what the Black Psychology Program at CIIS will look like, is that it is an African-centered series of workshops and leadership development program. And our focus would be primarily on students and those also alumni who are of African ancestry. And this is including the broader community in CIIS. So it staff, faculty, as well as students. The whole idea is to focus on raising awareness among supporting Black psychology as a field and its application and practice in one's life. This is personally and professionally. It has a unique aspect which will look at developing leaders in the field and expanding knowledge and transferring and sharing knowledge, which we would call the Jackmanship Cohort. I also want to add that this program is not just about improving cultural competence or becoming more culturally responsive. Our objective is to enhance integral education, learning experiences of African ancestry students, and also the CIIS community, and increasing knowledge and awareness of Black psychology as a field and its application and practice. So to continue to move forward, CIIS and being an anti-racist institution, we must expand the I always get tongue-tied on this one, epistemological frame to one that takes an emic approach to psycho-spiritual awareness, as well as rooted in African theories and African views, values, symbolism, as well as restorative praxis.
And that word emic, I see May on the screen because I was scrolling around to see all of you. That's my dissertation chair. That's my chair. And she gave me that word. So I'm a big girl now because I got a new word and I put it on every slide. So thank you, May, for that.
I also want to add, too, that this program is very unique in respect that it is not just about also systems change and transforming institutional structures, but also about seeking alternative epistemological questions to understanding and properly serving populations of people from African ancestry, and additionally, developing a personal praxis that will illuminate and liberate our spiritual essence. And so with that, I just thank you for the opportunity to be part of this, Adeeba and Rachel and Freilani. And I'm looking forward to what's to come.
Beautiful, thank you. So there's two pathways to the BPP. So both pathways include the community workshops. So one of the pathways is the general CIS Community Workshop Series. So the workshop series is a series in Black psychology, and it happens over the course of an academic year. And you'll get a preview of what those workshops are. And they will inform you and give information around both the theories, the philosophical theories, the episteme and so forth of Black psychology, and the praxis, how you actually apply these theories into your work. And your work could be that of a clinician, it could be that as an educator, it could be that of your own life. I am not a clinician. I just recently started teaching, but my introduction and my engagement with Black psychology started when I was a 20-year-old back in the early 80s. And so it wasn't until the last handful of years that I actually entered the academy and started to apply this in a more formal way. So the application of African-centered Black psychology, both in your life and in your life work. The CIS community workshops are open to all the CIS community. Faculty, staff, and alumni are all highly encouraged to attend. The other pathway for BPP is the Jackmanship Cohort. And the Jackmanship Cohort is a peer Jackmanship cohort, and I'm going to tell you in one more slide what Jackmanship is for students of African ancestry. And we are encouraging students, particularly of African ancestry, who are currently enrolled in the psychology degree programs that are also members of PASU, so to help increase student retention. Because one of the things that happens oftentimes to Black students who come into CIIS, they have a very difficult time. This is not across the board, but it happens too frequently. And they just have a negative experience. And so they either leave and don't complete their programs, or once they do leave, they don't come back. And so the other part of the Jackmanship Cohort is an alumni Jackmanship Cohort, where we will stay in community and in contact with our alumni so that they can provide the Jackmanship to our current students and also help support them in their own early career development. And so I know all of you probably want to know, what the heck is Jackmanship? So Jackmanship is, it's a core piece of the work that I do. It's a core piece of the way I live my life, and also the pedagogy by which I do everything. And so Jackmanship is a relational, African-centered, intentionally guided development process for intergenerational knowledge transfer, for knowing and knowledge transfer. And it engages in a mutual co-learning approach. And so the image that you see to the right, this was taken at one of the Adisa conventions, and it's two circles. So the outer circle are the elders of the Adisa community. Those are the Jegnas of the Adisa community. And on the inner circle are the students. And so I'm in the inner circle, and there are two of the students that participated in the MHSA Adisa cohort, and several other students are in the inner circle. And so a Jegna is someone who protects, who guides, who ensures, and who is in partnership and in relationship with the Jegni. So it's a mutual learning process. We're each giving to one another. That's why we're facing them and they are facing us. So Jackmanship it helps to facilitate and to sustain both the student or the Jegni and the Jegna. And our hope is that by officially structuring this as a Jackmanship cohort, we'll be able to facilitate the process of sustaining the program each academic year, so that it is not dependent on me to be here or for Rachel to be here and others like us who've been here for a long time doing this work, that it can become a self-replicating process. And so the Jackmanship cohort is created as a sacred space for students of African ancestry who have had a lived Black experience. And We do not define for you what a lived Black experience is. We leave that open to you to define, but we hope that you honor it and what the intention is around wanting to create the sacred space for students of African ancestry.
Yes, so yeah, thank you, Adeeba. So we have a workshop series that have been established to answer the psychological questions pertinent to the cultural, spiritual, and political needs of people of African ancestry. And these workshop series will move us away from the concept that Black psychology is merely a Black version of white psychology. It will move us away from the repressive formations within Western psychology or white psychology that overwhelmingly diagnose people of African ancestry as inferior in culture, inferior in behavior, broken, maladaptive, or just unworthy of distinct study. But rather, these workshops will move us towards an epistemology and praxis that explores the best practices that leads towards healing rather than treatment, that will move us towards normative cultural responses to emotional and spiritual challenges, and that will move us towards a psychology that encourages research, that does not assume a pathological orientation towards Black people. So we will begin in the month of October. So we're starting this up immediately. And Adeeba, our program manager and director, will be facilitating that workshop on what is African Black psychology. And then we'll be moving into community mental health, African-centered community mental health and wellness in November. And our very own Rachel Bryant will be facilitating that workshop. She's the director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. December into psychotherapy, facilitated by Denise Boston. And then we will be looking at other areas in the workshop series centered around expressive arts approaches, African-centered spiritness, and integral and transpersonal psychology. We will have speakers from Adisa participating in that, speakers from various community organizations as well. And then finally, we will have a workshop on personal and praxis. And this is centered around African identities and Black men studies, Black womanism and feminism, optimal approaches to Black LGBTQIA. And so we have so much to bring to you. We're so excited about all of this, and just, just be prepared. Just be prepared to share, to learn, and to also, be in community, in congruence.
Yes. And you'll have opportunity to do that, and I'll show you how in the next slide. I wanted to highlight the closing Jackmanship Cohort celebration. So those of you who decide to apply to be a part of the Jackmanship Cohort, you'll have the bonus opportunity of doing sharing back to the community what you have experienced. So just like we did with the Black Psychology as a Professional Gateway Project, where we had the participants in what we then called the Leadership Cohort do a full day symposium there on campus. It was all day long. We started at 9 in the morning and finished at 3. Because this will be happening in May, depending on where we are in the world. I don't know if we'll be able to gather in person or not in May, but we will still do our community celebration. And the beauty of it is throughout the year, as part of your cohort experience, you'll be developing your own symposium, your own conference presentation. So each of you already come knowing and with knowledge, and we respect and appreciate that. And what our intention is to add to that as you move through this process of Jackmanship and move through the process of attending the workshops. And then at the conclusion, then you're able to share back to community what you learned. And so you will actually design the full conference. It may be just a 2-hour thing if we're doing something that's on Zoom. It may be a more full day process, depending on, again, what the circumstances are. But you will come up with the conference theme. You will come up with the conference presenters. You all will do the presentations yourselves. You will put on a full symposium / conference as a Jackmanship cohort and to celebrate. So there's 2 ways that you can participate in the Black Psychology program at CIIS. So the one way is through the Jackmanship Cohort. If you are interested in being a part of the Jackmanship Cohort, then you need to send us an email at the bpp@cis.edu email address and request a Jackmanship Cohort application. And you need to get that application to us no later than October the 12th. And we will review the contracts, we meaning myself, Latronda, perhaps Rachel and Frelani. I haven't told them about this part yet, that they may be a part of the Jackmanship Review Committee, but for sure, Latronda and I. And at first we were going to cap it to 10 members for the Jackmanship Cohort. But we've gotten such an overwhelming response just in terms of the RSVP, so we're not going to put a number in terms of capping the number of people that can participate in the Jackmanship cohort. We do still have those requirements that you have be of African ancestry and have a lived Black experience as you identify that for yourself. And basically the questions on the application refer to, what is it that you will bring to the cohort? How will you contribute to the cohort? What is it that you're really seeking in terms of your knowledge around African-centered psychology? Questions along those lines. So we ask that you attend the Jackmanship Cohort orientation. That'll happen a few days before our first workshop. And then that will give you access to what we're calling the Canvas Sacred Space. And so those who are members of the Jackmanship Cohort will have that space to do a deeper dive into the materials and the work that we're doing through the workshops. And then we'll start our workshop series in October. And then you'll also be required to attend either a Jackmanship, a separate monthly Jackmanship Cohort session or the Bay Area chapter meetings. So they're all online via Zoom right now while we're in the COVID situation. And so those chapter meetings happen on the 3rd Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to noon. So we want to basically have a touch point throughout the month in addition to the workshop series where the cohort comes together and is in community. And so at the conclusion of the year in May, you'll receive a certificate of completion as a part of the Jackmanship Cohort. The other pathway of participating is for the general CIIS community. And so what we're asking is for the general CIIS community to RSVP and attend as many of the workshop series as you can. Hopefully you can attend all of the workshop series. That's what our hope is. And we're creating a space on the hub so that you are able to also enter into community, into conversation, into dialogue and discourse with one another via the hub, which is a platform that's open to all of the CIS community. And if you're able to complete the full series of workshops, you will receive an acknowledgement of participation certificate at the conclusion. So you will also be recognized for the work that you've contributed in your participation in the Black Psychology program. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So I'm gonna stop my screen share. And we have maybe about 20 minutes or so for Q&A.
They wonder, is Black psychology, as you define it, mainly geared to African American and Black people in the US or people of African descent in the world?
So the answer is yes and no. So one of the things that you'll find when you come to the very first workshop, what is Black psychology and why is it called Black/African psychology or African Black African/Black psychology is an answer to that very question. So there are a variety of different approaches that people take within the field itself, the broader field itself. Some folks focus primarily on the American experience. Some people focus on the diasporic experience. And some people focus on the classical African civilization, going back to Kemet, Nubia, and so forth, moving forward. So you will hear all of those different perspectives in the broader field of African-Black psychology. So it's a yes and. And I'll go into, when we do the first workshop, what is African-Black psychology, I will go into great detail around each of those different perspectives and some examples of writers and scholars that do work in each of those different perspectives and what those perspectives are, how we refer to them, and how they work together to form an intention around Black wellness and liberation and wholeness.
Would clinicians outside of the CIS community be able to participate in the program?
We are not sure. So we want the primary emphasis of this round, as opposed to the professional gateway round, the primary emphasis is for the CIS community. We're not necessarily turning people away, but we're not actively doing outreach outside of the CIIS community. So the CIS BPP workshop series will be open to all. The Jackmanship Cohort will be for CIS students, and the Jackmanship Alumni Cohort will be for alumni of CIIS. So again, it's one of those not hard yes or no's. It's this is what our intention is for now, is to really focus on our community, the CIS community, and if others want to participate, they're welcome to a point.
Two questions. How will we get notified when there's a workshop open to the CIS community? And then in what ways will those attending the wider workshops be able to commune and discuss with other attendees in the JEGNA cohort individuals?
So everyone, all of the CIS workshops will be published and open. They'll be recorded. We're going to upload them a variety of different places. They may be uploaded to some of the YouTube channels that CIS has. So they're open and they will be published with the Zoom links and all of that sort of stuff. The hub will be made available for those who are not a part of the Jackmanship cohort to participate in. That does not mean that the Jackmanship cohort does not have access to the hub. And so conversations will be in community all together in the workshops. So we'll all be in community together in the workshops. The only place where we really sort of have a sacred space for the Jackmanship focus within the Canvas community space. But everybody has access to the hub, both those who are in the Jackmanship cohort and the broader CIS community.
Okay. This is a great question. Beyond the once-a-month touch points for community, are there other ways in which the familial sense of community within the Jackmanship will be fostered?
Yes, so again, that would be the touch point that we do in addition to so they'll have, the Jackmanship cohort has really 3 different ways right now, actually 4 different ways that they can be a community with each other. So first is through the workshops. All of us will be together in the CIS BPP workshops. They also have the Canvas Sacred Space. They also have a membership in PASU, the Pan-African Student Union. And then they will also have their monthly Jackmanship cohort sessions. So those sessions can take place either separate from or part of the Bay Area chapter meetings that happen. So there'll be at least 4 different touch points for the Jackmanship cohort. And for this general CIS community, they'll have 2 touch points, which would be, and possibly 3, which would be the hub, the workshops themselves. And if they are a part of PASU, but maybe not wanting to engage in the Jackmanship cohort. So not everyone who is of African ancestry automatically wants to be a part of the Jackmanship cohort. They may want to participate and not make that level of commitment, because it does require an additional level of commitment. The additional workshop sessions, the cohort sessions, attending the chapter meetings, co-creating and designing the conference and teach out. So you may be of African ancestry and all of those other things, but don't have the bandwidth to commit to the level of the Jackmanship Cohort. And so you still will be able to be in community with one another, and you still may be a member of PASU. We really want to build up the membership in the student union group. And so just because you're Black doesn't mean that you're just, you know, now you automatically are in the Jackmanship Cohort. There's no automatic anything in any of this. So it's all a very reflective process, and it's all a very thoughtful process.
Thank you. If we are currently in practicum in our current programs, will there be a way to still be in the cohort or attend the workshops?
Yes, they'll be recorded. We will be tracking attendance, and that's how we'll know to issue the certificate at the end or not. So they will be recorded, and some of it will be activity based in terms of seeing how much participate. If you can't physically attend or virtually attend, I guess, one of the workshops, because especially if you're in the Jackmanship Cohort, if you're not able to attend one of the workshops, but you're able to engage in the discussion forum within the sacred space, then that would be fine. We're not being like hardcore, this isn't for academic credit or anything like that. It's really more about intention and participation. So if you know going in like, oh, I really want to be a part of the Jackmanship Cohort because I want that level of community, but the timing would not be right for me, participate. You can still participate, but perhaps not as a quote unquote member of the Jackmanship Cohort, but be engaged with the Pan-African Student Union. And that'll still give you some sense of community. You can watch the recordings and still engage in dialogue within the hub.
Okay, I'm curious if this could be the seeding of a Black psychology degree program at CIS.
We certainly hope so. We're dropping seeds all over, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's call it in.
Calling it in.
All right, Adisa is also active there. Adisa is heading up PASU and has put his email in the chat. So those of you who want to reach out, I've seen Adisa chatting with some of the members there. Are the dates for the workshops and orientation already set?
Some of them are, some of them are not. And so we didn't want to put any of them up until we had at least the first 3 set. So mine, which is the one in October, What is Black Psychology, will be sometime the last week of October. I'm thinking either the 27th or the 28th, somewhere right around in there. Rachel's will be in the month of November, and so she just needs to look at her calendar and pick a date. The one for Denise Boston, Dr. Boston, into psychotherapy is set for December the 12th. So we do have a date and a time for her. The ones that are happening in the spring semester, we're confirming all of our presenters. We have a long roster of presenters for each of the topics, and so we didn't want to offer dates until we had confirmed all of our presenters. So again, it's one of those yes and no question answers at the same time.
Great to have everybody here. It feels like a family gathering, this. Just seeing, when does this happen, virtually or in person, where we're together like this? Is so wonderful. Will you be emailing the slides out to the attendees today?
I can send the slides out separately, but they'll be embedded in part of the recording that will be uploaded and made available to the full community. So if you want just the slides themselves, yes, I can make those available. I think I can actually just add it here to the chat. I don't know if that helps people at all, but yeah, the slides can be made available, no problem. Right.
There's a lot of energy and folks backing up this becoming a degree program at CIS. That's great. Calling it in. Will there be additional resources to dive deeper into Black psychology, recommended readings, videos, and other forms of media available in the hub?
Yes, there will be. When we did this for the Professional Gateway program, we used Google Classroom because it was the majority of the people who participated were not CIS affiliated. And so in Google Classroom, we were able to upload both all of the videos from each of the presentations, all of the handouts that the presenters had as part of their workshops, and additional reading. And it also gave an opportunity for people to stay in contact with the presenters of the workshops. So since now we're moving into the CIS, what do you call it? Not ecology, I guess that's not the word, infrastructure. There's another word and it's right on the tip of my tongue. We'll be able to have all of that within Canvas and in the hub. And so yes, materials, additional readings, all of those sorts of things will be made available there.
All right. And when will the applications for the cohort be available?
They're available now. So if you email us at bpp@cis.edu, we can send out the Jackmanship Cohort application today, over the next couple of days.
Okay.
So I'll share, and then I'll have LaTronda sort of share what my experience is around this and what my intention is around this. We're presenting it like we would present it. So it's an African-centered approach, and each of the topics are presented from that perspective. And how it's received is based on the receiver, right? And so it's really more around how the person who's receiving it than how we're putting it forward will determine that outcome. So if you're coming in with an observer point perspective saying, well, this is not for me, this is not about me, this is those people over there, and I'm just checking out what those people over there are doing, and this is just for them, then that's how you will receive the information that's being put forward. If you are looking at this going, wow, I had no idea any of this existed. This has been in existence for thousands of years, and I had no idea any of this was going on. And I'm going to take in as much of this as I possibly can and try to develop and expand my own consciousness to bring this in and see how I can bring it into both my consciousness as a human, and then bring that forward into the work. Then that's for that person. So we're going to put it forward as an African-centered approach. And however it's received, that's on the receiver.
Makes sense. Thank you.
LaTronda, did you want to speak to that?
No, you covered it. That's exactly it.
Ashe. So again, highly encouraging, like the whole, again, reiterating that the reason why we're naming the workshop series the CIIS Black Psychology Program Workshop Series is because it's the CIS community. So that word is in there. The CIIS Community BPP Workshop Series, because we are a community, and having all of these barriers around student, faculty, staff, alumni, what box you check on a form, getting beyond that is part of the work that we're wanting to bring forward in the CIS Community Workshop Series, Black Psychology Workshop Series. So it is open to all to participate as fully as they are willing and capable of participating, while simultaneously holding the sacred space. So it's a both and. Both of these things are running parallel and simultaneous with each other. It is not about separating. It's really about what a word that you all will learn when you come to the first workshop, consubstantiation.
So Adeeba, there's a couple more questions in the chat, and we're at 12:20 or 12:09.
Right. You all have to read the chat to me. A lot of you already know I have some, I need support when it comes to seeing. And so especially printed text on a screen can sometimes be challenging for me to read. So if someone can—
I got it. Yeah, I can read it. Is this a mixed race space, meaning not exclusively Black African ancestry?
So that, again, that's for you to decide. So if you are quote unquote mixed race, then I'm hearing that perhaps somebody along that lineage has African ancestral roots. And if whomever is asking the question feels as if they define their lived experience as one of Blackness, then yes. If you say, well, 15, everybody's from Africa, true, but has everyone who is from Africa had a lived Black experience? So you define that for yourself. And if you feel in integrity, and if you feel as you are being genuine in how you're expressing your response to that, then it's a welcome space. Again, all of this, it's a welcome space. It's really about being in integrity, being honoring, and being really present and genuine and sincere, being in what's called ma'at, right? Being in integrity. So if you feel comfortable and that you are in integrity with that, then it's a welcome space. And you can decide that for yourself.
Hi, I'm Joelle, CIS Somatic Psychology Program, Adisa as well. Adisa,
Hi,
you want-
Joelle.
Hi. I don't know if Adisa is muted, but I wanted to definitely say welcome to CIS, right? So that's why Pan-African Student Union has definitely taken up a strong initiative and force. Poor thing for Lonnie knows that we have combated a lot of the institutional stuff around making sure that whatever the institution does to keep us not in proxemics to each other, not even know where we are within the programs, cross-communicate and cultivate language and support. I put the email there. We're here, and we want to make sure that every year, no matter how many times they do not institutionalize us, we still pass the baton back, and that there is a lineage thriving years to come, and we don't have to keep mending decades back. So that's our initiative and hope. And so glad to see everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Joelle.
Adisa, did you want to share anything?
Sure. Thank you, Joelle. Hi, everyone. Like Joelle said, I'm in the somatics program. I'm in my last semester of the somatics program. So when I found out about BPP, I was like, am I really trying to continue school beyond my last semester? But I think it's definitely going to be worth it. I'm really excited. And yeah, Joelle already spoke pretty well to Pasu, so I'm just going to lift up everything she already said. And we received a lot of emails so far, so I'm excited. We're excited to be connecting with all the new folks who will be joining Pasu.
But I'm so excited about moving forward with this and being able to create this community. And again, our hope is that, as Joelle was saying, that this moves beyond just the people who are in the room right now, especially those of you who are active current students. You know, I'm technically considered a part of that group, but hopefully I'll be moving out of that role finally in the next few weeks. But, you know, even as someone in my position, I've been at CIS since 2010 as a student and staff and faculty. I've held all the different, wore all of the different hats. And I noticed that, you know, and there have been many people before us, and we can do a roll call from Shirley Strong, Monique Lassar, Joy, is it Joy? What's Joy's last name? From MHSA. I can't call Joy's last name right now.
Joy Amal.
Yes. Annette Williams, who is now the program chair for women's spirituality. Arisica, we cannot not mention Arisica. So there have been many of us along the way over going back at least 15 years plus, probably close to 20 years. Arisica goes back more than 20 years that have been doing this work consistently and been returning consistently to try to make this a really sincerely a part of CIIS. And so our hope is that this will do it. I know that that's my hope. I'm going to give it my best effort over the course of this academic year. And then it's like, peace out, y'all. No, not really, but kind of, sort of. So in any case, we're really happy that you all are here. Again, this is for the CIIS community. And so we really want the full community to participate, because as long as we continue to marginalize students of African ancestry, we are not going to get anywhere. If we continue to look at like, this is just something for those Black folk over there to do to make y'all happy, no, we are not going to get anywhere. And so we need the full, sincere participation of the CIS community in this effort. And we need to be able to, again, going back to a place of ma'at, to a place of integrity within our curriculum. So if we say that we are an integral education institution, you cannot leave out an entire continent of people, a diasporic of people, thousands of years of history and philosophy, and claim to be a master or doctor of anything. And so if CIS really sincerely wants to be in integrity with being integral, then now is the time to embrace Black psychology as part of that worldview. And so our hope is that the BPP at CIIS really is that, the Black Psychology Program at CIIS. So get your Jackmanship applications in, send us your RSVPs for the workshops. We are excited, we're ready to get this done and keep doing. Ashe?
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe, everyone.
Ashe.
Thank you so much.
Ashe.
Thank you, Latronda. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Ashe.
everyone. Yes.
Yes.
All right, so Furlani, Rachel, do you want to close us out with anything?
I think we just did. Ashe.
Yeah,
We're manifesting and calling it forth.
All right,
Thanks, everyone.
Manifesting behind us.
that's right. To the right, to the left, to the front, to the back, above and below.
Yes. Yes.
All right, bye everybody.